Hello viewers, welcome back to Easy Mathematics. We are gradually working behind cameras to get you a quality video in a classroom setting, but as we said, we want to look at the solution for the BECE 2025. Hopefully by close of this year we'll be done with it. Then next year, God willing, if by the grace of God we are still alive, we will give you a solid lesson beginning from where we stopped on. So let's go straight forward to the point. We have question 3. A says, given that the vector A is equal to 2, 3, B is equal to x negative 3, and C is equal to this vector, and you have been asked to find the value of x if 2A plus B is equal to C, D is equal to C minus 3A, where you have the I to be the magnitude of D. Okay, now the solution has been provided. Let's just try and explain the solution so that we will save ourselves the time. Now, looking at the vector given, it says that A is equal to 2, 3, B is equal to x negative 3, and C is 7, 3. And we are finding the value of x given that, or if 2A plus B is equal to C. So a question like this, which is equality of vectors, is the same as we solving substitution. So you have 2A and the vector for A is 2, 3. So wherever we see A, we substitute it, which is the vector 2, 3. Plus B, and the vector B is x negative 3. So plus B, which we have it there, is equal to C, which is equal to 7, 3. So that is a substitution there. Now this becomes a scale factor that multiplies the vector. So multiplying will give you 4, and 2 multiplying will give you 6, giving you the vector 4, 6 plus x minus 3 is equal to this vector. Now, one thing about vectors, where it's being equal vectors or any given vector, we know that it's made up of x and y component. So it says equating the x component because we have the x that we are looking for to be at the x component. So we are going to add 4 plus x is equal to 7 in order to solve for x, because that is what the question said. So we solved for x and we got x to be equal to 3. So it's a simple equation where we are solving for x. Then we go to the II. The II says you have to find the value of D, where D is equal to C minus 3A. Again, we substitute. So C, the vector for C is 3, 7, 3 minus 3A, where A is 2, 3. So we have it there substituting, where the 3 here becomes a scale factor to multiply 2 and 3, which is a vector. And 3 times 2 giving you 6, and 3 times 3 giving you 9. Then we have 7, 3 minus 6, 9 to work out in order to find the value of D. So the x component, 7 minus 6 gives you 1, and 3 minus 9 will give you negative 6. So this gives you the value of D. Very simple. Now when you come to the III, it says find the magnitude or the length of the vector D. So now that we know the value of D based on the II, we can find the magnitude. And finding the magnitude of a vector is given as the square root of x squared plus y squared. The square root of x squared plus y squared. Already, we know that the D is solved as 1, negative 6. So now that we know the value for D, which is 1, negative 6, again, the first one is the x component and the second one is the y component. So we just do substitution. Wherever we see x, we substitute it with 1. Wherever we see y, we substitute it with negative 6. And that gives you the magnitude of D should be equal to the square root of 1 squared plus negative 6 squared. When you square 1, you are getting 1. And when you square 6, that is 6 times 6 is 36. Adding this gives you 37. So the magnitude of D becomes root 27 units. Root 27 units. Again, for the 2025 BECE, as we said earlier, was something that we are sure that WAEC wanted to just test learners on a very easy task, but unfortunately most learners couldn't perform to the maximum. And I believe that going through this will help my learners or easy mathematics candidate for 2026 to get the difference and be able to pass out coming BECE's mathematics test. So for the number 3A, that was what learners were demanded to do. Very simple, as you can see. We just substituted, we equated the x component, then we solved for the x. For the II2, the same, we substituted, we equated, and we solved for the D. Then we found the magnitude. Now let's go to the B. Reading the B says a polytank contains 4,500 liters of water, and 1/5 of the water is used for cleaning. I, find the volume of water used for cleaning. Then II, what percentage of water is left in the tank? So this is a word problem involving fraction. From the question, a polytank contains 4,500 liters of water. That is the volume of the water in a tank. Then it says 1/5 of it is used. So when we say 1/5 of something, it means 1/5 of whatever the value is. So we have to calculate. The I says find the value of water used for cleaning. And according to the question, the amount used for cleaning is 1/5 of the water. So that means we are going to find 1/5 times 4,500 liters, which is the volume of water in a tank. So 5 will go into 45 9 times, and that gives you 900. So now we have 1 times 900 liters. Multiplying gives you 900 liters. That is 900 liters of water was used for cleaning. So the number BI, it was just a cool job for learners to just get their marks there and go. Then the II says, what percentage of water is left in the tank? Now they've used 1/5 of it, and when we calculated 1/5, this is what was left, okay? And we have been asked to find the percentage that is left. If not anything at all, before we can find the percentage left, we need to know, before we can find the percentage of the amount left, we need to know the actual amount of liters of water left in the tank. So we need to first of all calculate water left in the tank. The total amount of water in the tank is 4,500, and they've used 900. So performing subtraction will give you the balance left, or the amount left after they using it for cleaning. So 4,500 minus 900 is giving you 3,600 liters. So 3,600 liters of water is left. But the question says, what percentage of water is left in the tank? So we want the percentage. And to calculate the percentage, it is the amount left over the total volume times 100. The amount left. How much was left? When we calculated, we had 3,600 liters. And we want the percentage left. So that is going to be the amount left, which is 3,600 liters, all divided by the total volume, which is 4,500 liters, times 100. Times 100 because we are finding or leaving it in percentage. So to find a percent of anything, it is what you are finding 8% over the total times 100. Then here with this simple simplification here, where liters cancelled liters, 2 zeros cancelled out. We use 5 to cancel 45, and 5 into 45 is 9 times, and 5 into 100 is 20. Now we have 9 here. 9 will go into 36 4 times. So we are now having 4 over 1, which is the same as 4, times 20 after cancelling. And 4 times 20 is 80, which means 80% of water is left in the tank. Assuming you were asked to find the percentage of the amount used, already we know the amount used for cleaning, which is 9,000 liters. So if it was the percentage for the amount used for cleaning, then we will now divide 900 liters by the total volume and multiply by 100. And this is very simple that learners were asked, and yet still some were finding it difficult to explain and get their full marks. We are yet to get the chief examiner's report on the 2025 BECE so that we can use that to prepare for next year's exams. Very, very important. So for the question 3, this was what learners were expected to do. For the A, and very simple. The one that demands no unit, you don't bring your unit. The one that demands unit, note if you don't bring the unit, examiners will mark you wrong and will write omission of unit, and they are right for that. Now let's look at the last one for today, which is question 4. Let me be quiet and read the question 4. Let's read the question 4 together silently. Good. So after reading the question 4A, the question says find the interest paid. So this is what? A simple interest question. The woman borrowed 5,300 to pay for her child's university fees. If she borrowed at a rate of 8% simple interest per annum for 9 months, find the interest. So let us know the keywords needed in the question. First of all, we need a principal, and the principal was given as 5,300. The rate was given as 8%, and time was given as 9 months. Now, one thing with simple interest is that it is always calculated in years. The time is calculated in years. So if they've given you the time in months, then we have to convert to years. So 1 year is equivalent to 12 months. Then how many years or year will give you 9 months? Automatically, we are going to get less for the 9 months. So if less, divide by more. And the more is 12. So dividing and performing the operation here gives you 3/4 times 1 year, which is 3/4 year. So the woman who went for the money from the bank was able to pay the money, or is expected to pay the money in 3/4 year, which is not up to a year. So instead of working with the time 9 months, we will work with 3/4 year. So take note, once the time given to you is month, don't work with a month, convert it to years, then we just work it out. We want the simple interest. Simple interest is the principal rate time all over 100. From the data drafted here, principal is 5,300 times rate, which is the 8, times the time, all divided by 100 according to the formula. Now taking the numerator, this and this can be written as a fraction by dividing by 1. 4 here can divide 8 into 2. Now we have the numerator to be like this, where 2 multiplying 3 is giving you 6. 2 zeros cancel out the 2 zeros. We now have 53 times 6. And this is the simple interest we are what? We are calculating. And once you multiply 53 by 6, what are we getting? We are getting 318. That means the interest paid for borrowing 5,300 is for borrowing 53,000 from the question. She borrowed 5,300. So the interest the woman is expected to pay for the 9 months, which is equivalent to 3/4 year, is 318 Ghana cedis. Very simple. 2025 BECE learners had it very simple and cool chop for them to write their best, do their best to the examiner to give them their scores. Let's look at the last one for the day, which is the number 4B. Now it says, a father shared his land to his 3 children. The first child had 2 feet of the land, and the second had 5 acres more than the first child. If the third child has 20 acres, find how many acres of land the A father shared, B the first child received, and the next one is the second child. Now this is very simple. Again, this is a problem involving fraction. So 2025 they had problems involving fraction, word problem involving fraction twice. Should in case they didn't perform well, then 2026 it is 100% assured that we are going to meet problem involving fraction. It is assured, because if learners don't perform well based on the question that was asked, examiners repeat the same topics but different or similar questions. So if learners, after going through the chief examiner's report and we notice that, or it is being noticed that learners couldn't answer as expected, then they'll bring a similar questions for us. So learners, as we are preparing for 2026, let us try our very best to understand the concept and what is needed in the 2020, what was needed in the 2025 BECE. So let me read briefly. According to the question, it says a father shared his piece of land. Now we don't know the piece of land, so let the piece of land be a variable. So we are saying X. When you proceed, the first preamble after this is saying that the first child had 2 feet of the land. So the first child share is 2 feet of the land. And what is the land? We are saying it is X. So that means the first child received 2 feet of X. That is giving you 2/5 times X. And that will give you 2/5X. Now this is what the first child received. When you continue, it says that, and the second child had 5 acres more than the first child. So if the first child received this amount, then the second child is going to receive 5 more, that is plus 5 of the first child's share. That is going to be the second child's share of the land. So the second child is going to receive 2 feet X plus 5 according to the preamble. The second child had 5 more than the first. So if the first child received this, then the second child is receiving 2 feet X plus 5. Now this is what the second child received. When you continue, if the third child had 20 acres of land, so the third child has 20 acres of land. With this preamble, we can solve for the father's land, the first child share, and the second child share. How do we do that? This is the piece of land that was shared. The first child had this. The second child also had this. And the third child has 20. So it means if we add the third child's share to the second child's share and to the first child's share, we should get the father's piece of land, which is the X. So we are going to say the X, which is the total piece of land, plus the first child share, plus the second child share, plus the third child share. So the X, which is the land, is equal to this. Now we can work out 2 fifth x plus 2 fifth x, giving you 4 fifth x. And this gives you an equation involving fraction, where we need an LCM. And our LCM in this case is 5. So we will multiply the terms by 5 in order to clear the fraction. When we do that, 5 will multiply this term, 5 will multiply this term, 5 will also multiply this term. So 5 times x gives you 5x. 5 cancels out to get rid of the fraction, leaving 4x. And 5 times 25 is 125. From here, we have an equation solving for x. So we group like terms. 5x minus 4x gives you x, which is equal to the 125. And from the solution, we say let the piece of land be x. So if x is 25, then the father's land, the father shared how many acres of land? So the I, which you were asked to find, then how many acres of land I, the father, shared. So if x is 125 per the explanation given, and here we are saying that x is 125, then it means the father shared 125 acres of land, and that is the value of x, the land that the father shared. Very simple. Then we come back again. We are to find the first child's share. How many acres did the first child receive? The first child received 2 fifth x. So if x is 125, then we work it out. 2 over 5 times 125. 5 into 125, 25 times. 25 times 2 is giving you 50. So it means the first child received 50 acres of land. That is the II, what we were asked. Then the III was saying the second child share. How much did he receive? How many lands did he receive? The second child received 5 more than the first child. So if the first child received this, then the second child is going to receive plus 5. So working it out, substituting, is giving you 50 acres, which is the first child's share plus 50, giving you 55, which means the second child received 25 acres of land. And this was what learners were expected to write in 2025 BECE. Remember, if learners are not able to answer as expected, examiners notice it, they are going to repeat the same question in next year's BECE. So as I said, let's relax and wait for the chief examiner's report for the 2025 BECE. Then we will try as much as possible to clear all doubt on the 2025 BECE. And this is a new curriculum. Remember, all those that started a new curriculum, they are now setting up past questions for the preschoolers and those in lower primary. So we are now coming to set the past questions for them to come and follow the trend that was given in order for them to write their BECE. So we have to learn everything that is demanded with the various topics that are normally asked in BECE. Then with that, it is positive and assured that our 2 or 1 in mathematics can be assured. Again, this is Easy Mathematics. Continue to stay tuned and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget that there is a voting ongoing, ending very soon, as the Student YouTuber of the Year, representing the University of Education. Let's all do justice and vote for Easy Mathematics to win this category. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Drop your comment if you don't understand, your support, your contribution, and that will be a blessing. Again, you can sponsor this program by sharing by any means, and we will be grateful. Thank you very much. See you next time on question 5 of the 2025 BECE and that of question 6. Thank you. Bye-bye.